Hello, this is BioEnchanted, and welcome back to Bolt. It's time to chase after Dr. Calico. This is quite an interesting level, because it has a neat gimmick, which we'll be seeing shortly. But for now, there's a little combat to get through. The mildly annoying thing about the way the level is structured is it looks like you can get on top of some of these boxes when you can't, because it's just invisible walls. It's like, why even put those little stacked obstacles around there? It's just kind of there to frustrate the player. They think they can jump on it and then maybe try and jump onto the side to find secrets. Now, the secrets aren't that well hidden in this level. I mean, they are fairly well hidden, but they're not like off the beaten path. I do quite like that little thing though with the guys coming out of the container. That's a cool little ambush. It's more interesting than them just spawning in. Well, so it's more interesting than them just spawning in by jumping off the top of the screen like they often do. Now it's our turn to ambush them the same way. Oh no! I like that because it's ripped directly from the beginning of the movie. I really enjoy that idea. I also quite like them blocking you in with the truck as well after the car comes by, after they realise the car hasn't worked. Well, yeah, that is kind of going to be a recurring thing throughout this level, and you can actually use it in fairly interesting ways, as I'll be showing off. But for now, that's kind of this level's primary gimmick. It will be those cars coming after us that we have to go invulnerable to protect ourselves from, otherwise it's instant death. Luckily though, you can hear them coming from a mile away, so as long as you press the button at the right time, or with the right amount of time before the car arrives, you'll be fine. As long as you have enough green meter to stay invulnerable until the car hits. But there is also aspects to that mechanic that we'll be seeing later as well that are a bit more nuanced. It's not quite as simple as just fight enemies until the car comes. I like that cartoon sailor though on the left, that's cute. Yeah, when I was first playing this level I got a little bit stuck there because those things, they look like you could be able to smash through them by just headbutting them, but you have to ground pound, which is weird because they're a vertical obstacle, so you'd think a horizontal attack would do the trick. Compared to like smashing through the floor by ground pounding, that makes visual sense. Slamming through a grate by headbutting it, that would make visual sense, but it doesn't work that way. You just have to ground pound it again, which doesn't quite feel right when it comes to the language of how games tend to work. Oh dear. Nice try, Doofus. Hate these guys so much.
Use a new stuffed dog.
A new one? What happened to your old stuffed dog? That implies you had an old stuffed dog. What do you do with your stuffed dogs, mate? Some weird little dialogue in this game sometimes, isn't there? They're going for threatening, but they just come across as a little bit bizarre. Yeah, he's gone kind of out of bounds, that's always a bit annoying. Just wait for him to come back while we take out the disky. You okay, Disky? That looks a bit painful. I quite like all the set dressing as well in general. Like, it's not the speedboats, you get a little Chinese junk ship over there, that kind of thing. There's a lot of like little visual things. There's a lot of unique assets in this game that don't really need to be there. It could have just been another speedboat, but the fact that there is a Chinese junk ship just kind of helps the feeling of being in the Chinese harbour. I don't know if those kind of junk ships still exist, or if that's just like a stereotypical thing at this point, because I've never been to China, so I don't know if those ships are still widely in use. But they were a very kind of key visual. Yeah, I kept that achievement because it was funny. Mostly. That's why I kept that death in, because that was actually a little bit funny. Because I'd forgotten there was a second car that came immediately, so I didn't have the actual thing ready. But here's the other use of the cars. They actually take out the goons, as well as you. And that guy just missed. But whatever, he's exploded too. He's over there now. He's gone down that little ramp, I guess. We also had a bit of a sneak preview on how to progress in this area as well. Because the previous time around, before I died, the car actually showed us. There we have it. Blow those up. Here is a well-hidden collectible here. Because if you just drop off the thing, it's kind of hard to notice that's even there. You can get back up from that box I just noticed, I guess, if it allows you to get that far without invisible walls. That's a possibility, but it's easy to get it from the shelf, if you know it's already there. And of course, I quite like there's a little bit of a variation as well. It's not just the big cars, you can also do the smash to the bikes as well. That's quite a fun little thing to be able to do. At that point I was basically just waiting for them all to spawn and jump into the same place so they could all be got at the same time. And I still do love the little visual thing where sometimes when you've done like a sonic boom blast, the sonic bark, the super bark, it actually does deafen a few of the goons. It's just a cute little visual that's worth reminding people exists. So let's find the last goon over there, the Whippy. Come on, Mr. Whippy. Whip is one of the more annoying enemies to break through the guard of, especially because they can do that. Just kind of rude. Here we go. An upgraded ground pound. It's always nice. I quite like that each level of ground pound has its own super box and laser vision have their own little special names. Like this one's the Earth Shake, that kind of thing. It's a nice little like progression kind of a thing. It's a shame we can't really see them on a list or anything like that, but that's because they're not really mechanical upgrades. They just kind of make everything do more general damage. They don't really affect how the game is played. It's not like there's a separate button combination for them, so they wouldn't really be a point in the list, but it would be nice to see, to show just how many upgrades you've got for each power. Yeah, I'm kind of rushing through this part because there are some enemies I'm trying to get killed by the cars. This guy in particular, who's annoying. Here we go, cars coming. Instead of just moving on though, like we could just run ahead, but we're going to go backwards a little bit. And yeah, it failed to kill that guy, which is annoying. I'll just have to ignore them for now, because I'm not fighting that guy. I hate those guys so much. If we come all the way back here, there's a bit of an upgrade. And now it's time to actually blast through the alleyway, and just get around this roly boy. Because I don't like this fight. I think other roly guys actually spawn after you kill that one as well, so I'm just like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that. Around this corner, let's get a fairly well hidden collectible. And something pretty funny with these golden lion statues is that I was watching Zhuan Zhao, I think her name is, the YouTuber who's recently started posting about Chinese culture in movies, starting with the Mulan movies, and then she also did Over the Moon recently. Like she mentioned that these Chinese dog statues, lions, are actually paired by gender. There's always a male with a ball and a female with another accessory, but both of these statues have balls, which is a very common mistake in media. So, like, there's a lot of jokes. She often makes jokes about gay lions because of that. So here we have another pair of gay lions guarding the exit to this level. I just thought that was quite neat. So I recommend looking her up. I think her name was Jiron Zhejiao. I forgot to look it up before starting recording. Sorry. I'll post a link to her in the description of this video. But she's a lot of fun. I do quite like the gongs with Calico's design on them as well. It's just kind of a shame that you can't super bark gongs to stun people with like a gongs, like maybe it would reflect the super bark and make it do more damage. That would have been a very fun thing to be able to do. Like it would have been nice to have them be a mechanical thing instead of just a audio-visual thing. Because so many games have that as a mechanic, hitting a gong to do damage to something. I think Eve of Extinction had that actually at one point as well, which is an interesting old PS2 game that I might do at some point. It's difficult, but I enjoy that game. I need to get a lot better at it though, because it's quite difficult. Ooh, he clipped to the ground. That can't have been fun. I do quite like that the Diskies have a special move where they can throw like these scatter discs. It's an interesting way of varying things up. Like, you get Utes to just like running around their bombs, but then they just do that, and it kind of like, because they don't do it often, it kind of catches you off guard a little bit. But this is always very annoying when you run out of energy meter and have to just kind of try and break through their guard manually. You have to get really good at movement when that happens. Yeah, this is a weird level though, because you expect that big red door to be the exit to the level. But you'd be wrong. This upcoming level is quite fun. It's another train level, but it's very different to the previous train level, because we're actually doing something very different. It's not just fighting on this level. When I first played the game, it was one of my favourite levels because of how unique it was compared to all the others. Because it's basically a small rhythm game. You just have to use the movements to avoid these little missiles being fired at you. This is quite a fun little level because it's very different to how the rest of the game plays. It's purely defensive, and it gives you a little bit of something to focus on, and the rhythm that you play to is kind of pleasing. And to do our usual trick with this low bridge. We could easily jump over it, but this is more cinematic. And of course, as the train goes on, the missiles will get harder. We have to really kind of like slink between the missiles here. Now they're getting a lot narrower gaps between them. Really annoying if you start getting hit, because that can kind of throw off the rhythm just very slightly. But it's easy to get back into the mix of it, back into the feel of it. You just need to pay attention and not do that. Now this, we actually have to start using our invulnerability to avoid the missiles, because we can't avoid these ones. I do quite like the rhythmic sounds it makes as you go through this level. It's quite a nice thing. It's quite satisfying to hear. It's that little fire, fire, boom, boom. I think it's a very nice rhythm to play to. It's also a very pretty area in general we're going through. And of course it's time for a small boss fight, which can be a little bit annoying if you don't know what you're doing because of the limited mobility. Because just dodging these missiles isn't actually enough. Like, even if the missiles are nowhere near you, they'll hit you, which is really annoying. What you really have to do is use the block. You just have to block them as they fly past you. Because you can see this isn't working. But as you can see, the block actually works very well here. You're kind of like reluctant to do it because it wastes some of the green meter that you could be using for the super buck when it gets closer. But it takes long enough for it to fire the missiles that you can just quickly tap into it and let the green meter refill as you're waiting for the next volley of missiles. It's pretty much a puzzle fight, this one. You have to kind of figure out how to best use your abilities. Because you can't just brute force it as easily as, like, you can't just brute force it by dodging the missiles and being all like, see, I was nowhere near that. Because the missiles will hit you regardless. But we're actually approaching the final chapter of the game as well. This act in this very nice green sort of atoll kind of an area is a very visually pleasing one because it's a very pretty environment.
We did it! But we did it!
He's on his way to my dad, and so are we. Dad's up there somewhere. Come on.
I like this island a lot as a location. It reminds me a lot of the end of The Incredibles. And it's just generally a very pretty place to navigate. But we'll be seeing that when we start the next video because, well, this is a 2-level video and this next 2 levels get quite long.
Have fun.
And we will. But we'll do that next time. Goodbye.